Dear Gregg Braden is already here. Hello, dear brother. If it's okay for you, I will introduce you now. One moment. He will make a sound. Hello, dear Gregg Braden, my dear brother.
Your
I,
system would not let me unmute myself.
I know that because maybe your microphone is too big for us.
No.
Greg,
Hello, my brother Shlomo, and hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to
I took
all.
one moment before because you will have to suffer again that I will introduce you, if it's okay
You
for you. I will do
you don't have to introduce me.
just to do it,
All
as
right.
needed. I wrote
Okay.
some.
Okay.
So Gregg Braden is scientist and author and visionary. He's a five-time New York Times best-selling author, scientist, and international educator, renowned for his ability to bridge the gap between cutting-edge science and ancient wisdom. Braden spent over 3 decades traveling to remote monasteries, forgotten temples, and studying ancient texts to uncover deep truth about human potential. Gregg Braden, for us, is our leading teacher of SGLA, and his support, your support, all over the time that since we began since COVID, if you remember,
Mhm.
is so precious for us and is so helpful for all of us. So every time I see you and I thank you, I feel it's not enough. That's the truth. I say another few sentences. Before his work in spirituality and biology, Braden had a highly successful career in technology and science, serving as a computer geologist for Philip Petroleum, aerospace computer designer for Martin Aerospace, and the first technical operation manager for Cisco Systems. And now I can talk a lot, but I will not read from the paper. The last book of Greg, I really call you my brother because I don't know why, but every moment I see you, I'm getting very excited. We became friends in a way. We met only once in Israel. Since then, Greg has not come to Israel. I hope something will change now and
Mhm.
the war will be over. We are praying all the time that the war will be over. But I'm feeling you all the time as a human being, not only as a teacher, not only as a leader. I feel that we are meant to give the same gift on this planet Earth with another waves, another color sometimes, another way. But this calling that calls us together, and I was talking about the gift today, the gift we came to give to this planet. This is what I feel that I am
Mhm.
at your service. When you go forward, I'm walking on your trails and I see you moving on and on and on. So all what I have to say before you begin to speak, that I am supporting you personally so much. And I hope all the people here will support you as well and will send all the energy to you during your teaching. And you are most welcome from our hearts. Welcome, Greg. Welcome. Greg. And you are
What
pure.
a
So we can,
what a beautiful way to come into this meeting today. So I'm going to say good afternoon, good evening, my brother Shlomo, and the people in your part of the world. Good morning, people of our part of the world. Good morning to you, magnificent vessels of light, you beautiful bastions of divinity. You're my first call for today, and I'm very excited to be with you all today. Uh, Shlomo, I was thinking this morning, it's hard to believe that so many years have passed since we began doing this work together. And yes, I hope to return to your country and to your land. We certainly had plans to do that in 2023, and we know what happened after that. So We are actually, I'm not supposed to talk about this, so it's a secret, but we are actually planning a reconnaissance trip back to Israel to set up the new tours with the new companies. And when I do, you and I will have lunch at our favorite place and our seafood place, and we can hug in person. And I'm looking forward to that. So I I had just a few messages from Shlomo this week, and we typically do questions and answers, and I'm happy to do that. He asked me to say a few words about another facet of our work because I know that there is a recording that has been used that we created, I think, in 2020. And that recording has been played over and over again. So I want to begin today just with a few words, and this is being recorded as well. Shlomo, is that correct for other people to see at a later time? I want to
Yes,
say a few.
we recorded and we will share it also in the course.
All right. Well, thank you for that. So I want to say just a few words about where we are in the world today, because the work that we do together, when we come together like this, it has to be meaningful in the rest of our lives. And we get off this call and we go into our communities and we go with our families and we do our work. What we do here has to be relevant. It has to make sense within a bigger picture. We talk about leadership, and I think we all know it's easy to be a leader when everything is good. And I think we've all seen that. It's easy to be a leader when everybody's happy, everything is good, everything is peaceful. Where we are tested is when the world becomes something that we did not expect, or something that we maybe don't agree with or that we don't like. And I want to talk about that right now because I know that you know this is no ordinary time in the history of our world. We've spoken about that before on one level. And I think it's time maybe to take it to a deeper level. So, with your permission, Shlomo, I'd like to go a little bit deeper about what's happening in the world that's presenting the context for where our leadership comes through. Are you okay if we do that?
Sure.
All right. For some people, I know this is a conversation that can be difficult because they want only happy talk. And I've actually had people say that to me, only happy talk. And I look forward to the day when the world is only a happy world. But the reality is that that's not our world today. So I want to begin. You all know that I'm a systems thinker. A systems thinker goes to the big picture. A systems thinker looks at the context of the big picture for awareness. And that's all we're doing here. I want you to have an awareness of why the world is the way it is so that you have meaning for where your leadership fits into that world. I know that you know this is no ordinary time. We've talked about that. What you may not know is that our world, Earth, is in a process right now. Many of you know that I lost my mom to COVID during the COVID pandemic. And before she left this world, she looked at me and she said, "Gregg, the world has just gone crazy." She said, "It makes no sense what's happening in the world." And what she saw were things that were, you know, a war here, an economic collapse there, an immigration crisis here, you know, a financial crisis there. It just looked like everything is crazy. And if you see the world that way, it can be very frightening. But what we're seeing is part of a process that is seldom spoken about. We're in a process. That process has a beginning, it has an end. We're in it, and the only way out of it is to go through it. The process that we're seeing right now, it's not going to last forever. We cannot sustain this level of chaos forever. I mean, I think you all are seeing that chaos on many levels. So let me go to the bigger picture of what's happening. Earth is being prepared for a reset. And I think that's a fair term to use. It's a term, the word reset is actually a word that is used by many of the organizations, the governments, the technocrats that are involved. Earth is being prepared for a reset. And the stated goal has been, it's not a secret, it's public, is the desire to remake the world and to remake our bodies. And this is what they actually are saying. They want to remake the world as we know it and remake what it means to be human. So let's break that down a little bit. To remake the world, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It depends upon the thinking that underlies the remaking. I think we all can agree there are aspects of the world today that are certainly unfair, that are certainly hurtful, that have led to the fear and led to the hate that has led to the wars. We can see that. If we could make a new world where those things were not present, maybe that's a good thing. It's all about the thinking underlying the remake. If the thinking is done from a place of love and benevolence and peace and cooperation, it could be a beautiful thing for this world. If it is done from the leadership that we have running the world now, that is based in power and control and fear and separation, maybe not such a good thing. So it is in process. Earth is being prepared for a reset. And what you're seeing that looks like crazy stuff happening in the world, these are the powers that be, the people, the organizations that are jockeying to be in the best position when this reset happens. So they're redrawing borders, they're reallocating resources. Who has water? Who has food? Who has oil? Who has people? Where are people migrating to? So there is a reset that is happening on a geographic level. There's a social reset. And we've spoken about this before. It began around 2011. The breaking of the social bonds that hold us together as families and communities and societies and nations and a planet. And we see this by taking the issues that are important and that need to be discussed, things like the rich against the poor, blacks against whites, Christians against Muslims, Jews against Muslims, males against females, adults against children, the whole gender conversation. These are important things to talk about. However, they could be used to bring us closer together if they were spoken about in a benevolent way. What has happened is these issues, very real issues that we need to speak about, have been weaponized to drive us apart. They've been weaponized to divide us. When a reset is happening, it's much easier to impose the reset upon populations, upon people, upon families, upon societies that no longer have those bonds, that aren't connected through the strength of the shared ideas and the shared values that they've had in the past. So you're seeing a breakdown in religion that brings people together. You're seeing a breakdown in social ideas that bring people together. That's all part of a reset. The economic reset, you're seeing a breakdown in global economies, a devaluing of currencies for this reason. You're seeing an attempt to engineer our climate. Now, I'm a degree geologist, and this is fascinating to me. In 2023, I did a little experiment. And I said, if we met all of the climate goals that are now being proposed by the UN, by the WEF, by all these organizations, if we met those goals, what would Earth look like? And I had never seen anyone do this experiment, so I was excited to do it. And I was surprised because if we met all of the climate goals, if we lower the CO2 to those goals, if we lower the global temperature to those goals, what we find the last time Earth had those properties was in the middle of what is called the Pleistocene geologic era, the Pleistocene. And that was a time that was not good for us. It was not good for life in general. It wasn't good for forests. It wasn't good for mammals. It was not good for life in general. So the desire to remake our climate is a part of this reset that is happening, and that's not good for us. The breaking of social bonds is not good for us. The re-engineering of the borders and the resources in the way it's being done right now is not good for us. A part of this reset is the merging of human with machine. And this is a stated goal. The World Economic Forum, at the end of their Davos meetings every year, they state in a single sentence, summarizing what the goals are. And the stated goal from, I think it was 2023 or 2024, the stated goal was to merge our physical world, our digital world, and our bodies, our biological world into a massive digitized database run by artificial intelligence. That was a stated goal. And they're having problems doing that. So they have merged with the United Nations, the UN and the WEF signed a document in 2019. They are partnering to further what are called sustainable development goals. And if you look closely, those goals, they're beautiful on the outside, beautiful goals like food security and end to poverty. Who doesn't want that? Then you look at the fine print of how they're going to accomplish that. And it is at the cost of our sovereignty, of our freedom, of our very humanness. And we have to decide, are we willing to pay that price to achieve those goals through that vision? So I'm saying this to you because this is the context, this is the environment within which you're being asked to be a leader in your own life, in your family, in your workplace, in your schools, in your community. Some of you have public stages. Some of you are very high visibility. But whether you're high visibility on the stage or you're at the family dinner table, it's the same thing. It's about leadership. And the question is, knowing that there's an intentional effort to change the world that we have known, knowing that there is an intentional effort to change us in the way we have known ourselves, how do we know what choices to make? How do we know how to make a healthy choice for ourselves and for our families? I don't know everyone in this SGLA, and I can't see many of you on my screen right now. So I don't know many of you personally. Some of you I do. Some of you I know very well. And even though I don't know you personally, I think I know something about you. And I think that something is this. If you're an SGLA, you are the person in your community. You're the person in your circle of friends. You are the person in your family. You're the person in your workplace that other people turn to in times of need. Other people will turn to you when things are not easy in the world, when things are not good, when things may look confusing. And they'll turn to you and say, what's happening? And they'll turn to you and say, what should I do? This is where spiritual leadership is vital because you have to know beyond any doubt who you are. You have to know with absolute certainty who you are in the world, who you are in your body, who you are in spirit. And you have to have this rock solid foundation to hang on to when the rest of the world is in chaos. And you have that. You have everything you need right now. And that's why we talk about the things that we talk about. This is where the conversation of human divinity comes in. Some of you have been with me in live events. We spend 4 days exploring what it means to have divinity inside of a material body. Some of you have heard me only speak about this briefly, maybe on this call. So let me just say quickly, recap. Divinity, I know it means different things to different people. Divinity has nothing to do with religion, although there are schools of divinity that have made that connection. And I'll be clear, they're good schools, they're good people, they do good things. But divinity, in its truest sense, the definition simply is the ability to transcend perceived limitations. That's it. That's the definition of divinity. The ability to transcend, to become more than perceived limitations. Most of us are living within boundaries and limits that aren't even true, that are not even real. We're living within limitations that we have accepted from our family or our culture or our society or our religion that tells us we are not capable of doing certain things. Even science, obsolete science, says that the human body is limited in ways that we now know is not true. So your divinity is your ability to be the best version of yourself. Now, many people, when they think of divinity, it's a peripheral concept. It's like, here's my life here, and divinity is over here, and maybe once a day I'd go to a special place and do a prayer or do an affirmation or, whatever. And that can be good. But divinity, in its truest sense, is not peripheral, it's foundational in our lives. You are a divine being, and I am a divine being. It is our choice how much of our divinity we choose to accept into our lives. Because we are free will beings, we can deny our own divinity. We can say we don't have divinity. We have the right to do that. But let me give you some expressions, common expressions of divinity, and you'll see it's not peripheral, it's the very foundation of your life. Human imagination is an expression of divinity. You and I are the only forms of life that have imagination the way that we have it. We're the only form of life that can bring a situation into our mind's eye and simulate different possibilities and different outcomes and what happens if I do this and if I make this choice, what are the consequences? And then choose which of those to follow through. No other form of life can do that. That is a divine principle. So imagination, creativity, innovation, empathy, sympathy, compassion. No other form of life has the ability to sympathize and empathize and then choose to have compassion for another being in the world. The ability to forgive one another is a divine principle. The ability to love, the ability to heal. How can you heal your body if you don't accept the divine principle that your body has the intelligence to heal, the wisdom to heal? We tend to think that our healing is something that doesn't involve us. Maybe not this group, but that is the thought in the general population. We're taught that we need something outside of ourselves to be the best version of ourselves, when in truth, what we need, we already have. So the empathy, sympathy, compassion, forgiveness, love, healing, intuition, These are all expressions of human divinity. The stated goal for the transition that we're talking about, it's sometimes called the Great Reset. Uh, there are other organizations that refer to something called the event that will trigger all of this change. The stated goal for all of these, it's not like 20 years down the road. It's within the next 2 to 3 years. They're looking at the dates right around 2029 and 2030. And I say that for two reasons. One, so that you know that the chaos and the tension in the world doesn't last forever. And I think that's good news. But number two, to accomplish the goals for a reset means that you and I are going to be coerced. We are going to be indoctrinated in terms of technologies. We are maybe going to be mandated in some cases to accept things into our lives and into our bodies that we may not know if it's a good thing or not. And as a leader, people are going to turn to you and they're going to say, should I accept this? Should I accept this new technology into my life? Should I accept this technology into my body? There are all kinds of proposals about nanotechnology and microcircuits in being introduced into the human body that connect us in the cloud for communication purposes that make a cell phone obsolete. The technology companies are saying by 2030, this smartphone will no longer be used. It will be obsolete because they envision the technology being placed into our bodies either through fluids or through food or injections or whatever that allow us to sync into the cloud for communication purposes. And that's just one example. You and I are going to, and they're going to make it look really good. They're going to tell us that our lives will be safer, our lives will be easier. All we have to do is surrender our freedom, our sovereignty, and our humanness. And you and I have to choose whether or not that's something we are going to accept into our lives. From a spiritual basis, the leadership principle is what I'm talking about. This is all about divinity. So I want to give you a tool right now. I want to give you a benchmark. If you are asked to accept something in your home, in your life, into your body, how do you know if it's a good thing to do or not? And the benchmark is this. Ask yourself, does this affirm my divinity or does it deny my divinity? Does it affirm my ability to imagine and create, or does it somehow inhibit my creative abilities and my imagination? Let me just give you an example. AI is a powerful tool. It's not right, wrong, good, or bad. It's the thinking underlying how it's used. There was a peer-reviewed study that just came out in February of 25, and so this is now June of 26. So about just almost a year and a half ago, a peer-reviewed paper from the University of Toronto. They examined young people who were chronically using, this is the key word, chronically turning to AI for their creative endeavors. So to create the songs and the poetry, they would have the AI write the songs and the poetry. And then to create the music to go with the song, they would have the AI write the music. And then to create the artwork that would go maybe with an album or a CD cover, they would have the AI do that. They would have the AI write their books, write their school term papers. The AI would write the brochures that for marketing and things like that. Now, I want to be clear. if 4:30 on a Friday afternoon, your supervisor comes in and says, hey, I need a brochure by 5 p.m., 30 minutes, and you use AI to do that, who wouldn't? I would. That's a one-off application. Maybe save your job. We're talking about the chronic use. When you turn to AI, in this example, you give your power away to the AI to do the creative things it used to do. Well, here's what the study showed. The young people that do that, their cognitive abilities are actually diminished through the chronic use of the AI. And all of their creative endeavors all start to look the same. And the word they used was vanilla. All of the creative endeavors began to look vanilla. It all started to look the same. You've probably seen this. If you go to YouTube and you see thumbnails that are created in a channel, even my channel, the team that runs my channel, all those thumbnails start to look the same. I know that. I've talked to them about it. Because the AI does not have the creative input that the human brain has. So the way our biology works is if we don't use our biology and that biology is replaced, a computer chip in the brain, a chemical in the blood, RFID chip under the skin, nanosensors in the body, whatever it is, if that technology then begins to perform the function that our biology used to, our body says, oh, maybe we don't need the biology anymore. And those abilities begin to atrophy, and we lose the cherished aspects of our humanness, like imagination, like creativity, like innovation. And I think you can see how that would happen. And this is one example, one example. The same thing applies to the immune system. If we chronically replace our immune system with chemicals that try to imitate our immunity, the body says, well, maybe I don't need to do this anymore. We begin to lose the ability to put up a robust immune response. The same thing happens in reproduction. This is the way the body works. So it's not just AI, it's our bodies as well. So you ask yourself, does this thing that I'm being asked to accept into my life and my body, does it affirm or deny my divinity? And now you've got a list. Does it affirm or deny my ability to imagine, to create, to innovate? Does it support my ability to have empathy for my brothers and sisters in this world? And this is important because we are overwhelmed with atrocities and suffering, so much so it's hard. And I'm there with you. It's hard to have empathy when we become desensitized to the magnitude of the suffering. This is what sets us apart from other forms of life, because we can choose to override that desensitivity. We can choose to focus and remind ourselves, hey, this is my brother, this is my sister, and they're hurting right now. Whether we agree with their religion or their philosophy or their politics, it is a human that is suffering. And that is an expression of human divinity. Our ability to heal, our ability to forgive, all of these things. We could talk more about this in the Q&A, but I want you to have a rock solid tool so that at least you know whether or not the choice you're being asked to make affirms or denies your divinity. Your divinity is what defines your humanness. If you don't have that divinity, you are still a life form, but you're not a human life form. This is important because as we go toward a reset, a population that no longer thinks for themselves, a population that no longer relies on their own ideas, a population that is in sync with other people, so they're all thinking the same thing and reaching the same conclusions, that makes the reset much easier. It's very difficult to have a reset when people have strong ideas about all the things that we're talking about social, political, economic, borders, religious, biological, all of these things. So you see what's happening. We're just inundated, and many people are exhausted. I see this all over the world. People are just exhausted, emotionally, psychologically, physically, and now because of the economics of the world, they're just struggling trying to pay for the food and the fuel for their families. They don't have time to think about this stuff. So when the powers that be come along with a sweeping change and say, hey, I'm going to fix this so you're no longer exhausted, they're going to say, bring it on. The question is, what price are we willing to pay? Are we willing, and this is, it all comes down to love. The question is, do we love ourselves enough to accept the gift of our humanness? Or will we surrender our humanness and our divinity to the speed and the efficiency and the ease that is provided by technology, artificial intelligence, and the way that that is being incorporated into our lives? That's the question. Now, I don't know what the answer is for you. And I would never attempt to convince or persuade you of what choice to make. I want you to know that you have a choice. And I want you to know what it is that you're giving away when you surrender your divinity and your humanness. I want you to know what it is you're giving away so that you can choose whether or not it is worth the price of your humanness and your divinity. And as you do that in your life, and we're all going to be asked to do this on some level, things are going to be introduced into our lives, and we're going to have to say yes or no to those things. As you do that, the people that look up to you are going to look to you for guidance, and they're going to say, what should I do? What does this mean? And that's why I want you to be empowered. First, with the big picture. The big picture is that there's a reset. And by the way, this reset, there are many levels. There are cosmological levels for this reset, things that happen in space at the center of our Milky Way galaxy every 12,500 years. It's a cycle that have been written about in 8,000-year-old cuneiform tablets discovered in Mesopotamia and Babylon, Sumeria, Acadia. They knew about this cycle. And that cycle, when it happens, it changes things on our planet. It changes the magnetic fields, it changes climate, it changes migration patterns of animals, it changes migration patterns of people, it changes the climate, so it changes the weather, so it changes how we grow our food. These are all cyclic. The powers that be are taking advantage of this natural rhythm and using this as a catalyst to impose their ideas for the world, what they would like the world to look like, what they would like, if you want to see what that is, look at the 17 Sustainable Development Goals on the United Nations website. The goals on the outside are beautiful goals, like I said, but don't be fooled. Look at the fine print. How do they get to those goals? And then ask, is that the world I want to live in? For example, food sustainability. You would think food sustainability, the UN would want to support local farmers and help them get through drought and help them financially and help them get through tough times. That's not the UN. That's not the UN answer to these goals. Their answer is for big corporations to come in and buy the farms from the farmers. So those farmers no longer have a way to provide for their families. To let the corporations come in, buy these farms, make them into corporate farms, and then begin using all the things that we know are not good for us, GMO seeds, pesticides, all of those things to maintain those farms. That is how they see food security happening. So the idea, I'm just using this as an example, it's a good idea, but the method to get there, in my opinion, is a bad idea, in my humble personal opinion. I'm just one man. So there are other ways to get to the food security that could be good. And I used to work on a UN NGO, a subcommittee, trying to make progress to find a good way to achieve those goals. Our committee was hijacked. People came in who turned the whole thing around and they want to support those goals. So I'm just giving you that as one example. That's happening. It's happening, and we're probably not going to stop it. But what we can do, and I think this is vital, if we lose our humanness, nothing else matters. If we lose our empathy for our brothers and sisters, if we lose our ability to imagine and create and innovate and share ideas and communicate, if we lose that, I don't think there's a lot that's going to matter. The flip side of this, another way of saying it, is as we move into this new world and as we implement technologies and as we implement artificial intelligence, if we can have foundational values that those technologies must support, then I think we can't go wrong. If we declare life, all life, as a priority, human life as a priority, human freedom, human sovereignty as a priority, then all the technology has to work to support those kinds of values and others. I'm just using those as examples. Right now, we don't have that. So the AI does not respect human life. It does not respect human sovereignty and human freedom. And that's why some of the solutions AI comes up with eliminate us, because it has never been trained to honor and respect and prioritize the gift of human life. So as leaders, and you're all leaders, I want to be real about this. Like I said, it's easy to be a leader when things are good. And I'm not saying things are going to be bad. I'm saying there's change in the air. And the way that change comes is you and I are going to be asked, sometimes coerced, sometimes convinced, sometimes indoctrinated through education and media, maybe mandated through policies. I don't know. We're going to be asked, convinced, persuaded, mandated to accept things into our lives, and then you have to make a choice. And I want you to know you've always got the tools to know how to make that choice. In the earlier video that I did in 2020, we talk about heart coherence. When you are in heart coherence, you are linked to a field of information that is beyond the polarity of the ego. And that field is where intuition comes from when you go into your heart. And you can ask your heart, does this choice affirm my humanness and affirm my divinity, or does this choice impede or diminish or deny my divinity? And your heart will give you an answer. Now, what you do with that is completely up to you. Doesn't mean you have to act in that moment. But here's the thing, at least you're being honest with yourself. You're saying, this technology is going to reduce my ability to maybe be as creative as I have been in the past. Is it worth the cost to me to do that? And then you're being honest with yourself. So rather than blindly following or making choices out of fear because your friends are, or because CNN told you to, or whatever news you listen to. So I wanted to say that. Leadership is easy when things are easy. The world is like a rubber band that's been stretched so tight, and you and I know something's going to give. And when it does, we will be introduced to sweeping change. We can't necessarily change the change in the world. We definitely can determine how we respond to that change in our personal and our spiritual lives. Do we respond from the fear of what happens if we don't accept the change, or do we respond from our love of what we know is possible within us and the true nature of what it means to be human. So this is what I wanted to say a little bit, Shlomo, before we go into this. I spoke a little bit longer than I had planned. It's completely unscripted, so I have no notes here. I have the note in my mind is what I'm looking at. So I think I'll pause there because I know I covered a lot of ground. For some people, they're very familiar with everything I said. And for some people, what I have said may be new and they may have a question. So I'm going to turn it over to you, my brother Shlomo, and invite you to now move forward in whatever way you would like to from this point. And on my screen, I'm seeing a whole lot of heart emojis. And I want to tell you, I love you all. I love you all. And I love the people of this world. And I love this planet. And it's a beautiful planet. We are a beautiful species. We're worth preserving. Don't let those people tell you that we need to replace us with machines. We are worth preserving, and this world is worth preserving. And the way we do that is by claiming, accepting, acknowledging, and embodying the deep truth of what it means to be human. And I think it's important for us to say that to one another. So thank you. Thank you for my
Thank you
heart
so
emoji.
much, Greg, so much. I know that when I hear you talking, you come from really care. And this is important to understand. It's not like you want to frighten anybody, but really care for human secrecy, for really living here. And yes,
Thank you, Shlomo. You know, I just want to say this. It's often been said that knowledge is power, and I think there's a lot of truth in that. Knowing the big picture, not to be afraid of it, not to be angry, not to make someone wrong, but knowing the big picture so that we can make sense of the chaos and where the momentum is leading informs us of the best and the healthiest choices that we can make in our own lives. If we don't know that big picture, it's like we're like little puppets on a string. We have a crisis here and we respond, and we have a crisis there and we respond, and we say, well, what about that crisis? And that's the weeds. That's what I call the weeds. We don't want to get stuck in the weeds. We want to rise above that and make the choices that are healthy for us and our families to preserve the gift of our humanness. From my perspective, I think that's a healthy way to go through this reset.
I will be honest with you. I wish I could say that you are wrong. But to my opinion, you are not wrong. To my opinion, we have to understand what is going on there. Sometimes I'm not sure that people are doing it intentionally, other leaders. But there is something there that we got blind as a society. We got brainwashed. We are going all day long with this kind of thing, this phone or something like this. And we are brainwashed, yes. And some of us, especially the younger, are addicted. And also us, let's be honest, sometimes we wake up in the morning, we look at this kind of thing.
I wake up in the morning and I check my WhatsApp for a message from Shlomo to see if Shlomo is writing to me today. So
this is the only day that I will excuse you doing it in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
I'm joking, but it's like,
I know you're joking.
Yes.
It's important to joke because it can be heavy, but I think it's important to have fun. And it's easy to have fun when you know what it means to be human. When you know the power of our humanness, then the fear loses its authority. And that's important. When we accept the power of our divinity, the fear loses its authority in our lives. And that allows us to have fun with the change. If we don't know that we have this divine potential and these divine capabilities, then it gets scary because our well-being we have placed in the world out there. Divinity invites us to determine our sense of worth and well-being from in here. And it's a subtle and it's a powerful difference. And SGLA goes a long way in helping this team to be able to do this so that you can model this in your family and in your community and in your workplace
Spread it all.
in a kind way, And it's not even so much about what we say, it's about the way we live, because other people will learn from the way that the choices you make and the way you live your life, and they'll see that you're happier, you're healthier, your life is more balanced, you're better adjusted, you have a more of a sense of well-being, and they will want that. So that is a way of teaching simply by living what is true for you with kindness, not to make someone wrong, but just living with kindness what's true for you. So I apologize. I just wanted to jump in and say that as we go into our questions here, Shlomo.
So I just say that we promised our students from the basic course and our teachers to get priority in asking questions now. So I'll give the floor first to Willow. Willow, I'll ask Anya to unmute
I'm
you.
unmuted. I'm here. I'll turn it up too.
Hey,
Hi,
Willow.
nice to see you. Nice to be here with you all. So my heart's racing. I'm sorry to be moving so much, but I have so much going from my heart into my head. And I just what my first thing that came to me is gardens. When you had shared, not the first thing, but I see how hard it is to grow and but if we were all able to, so my first thing would be like developing community gardens and things like that. But then I know you would have to put a disclaimer. You would have to tell people, eat at your own risk, even vegetables, right? But that's what life is. But to offer something like that, but it'd have to be a lot.
Well, let me just say, first of all, Willow, where are you coming from? Where are you calling from?
I'm in St. Mary's, Georgia, right on the
Oh,
Florida.
you're on my rock. You're in my part of the world then. So thank you. Community is vital. So this is one of those, and I'm just going to jump in because you brought up a really important point. For the reset, the powers that be are moving us towards centralized living. So they want dense population centers. They're discouraging rural living. They want centralized sources of food, of course, and water and things like that, which can be good until it's not. When those supply chains break down, if you're depending upon your family's well-being from something that you have no control over, then that puts you in a bad place. So, what our ancestors said to us, and what has been proven in the past, is localized living is always good. In times of need, it is much more successful. So, small agricultural based communities, farm to table, you grow your own food, you educate your own children. A lot of people are doing homeschooling now. And you can interact with other communities doing the same thing. But it's a very different principle from the centralized power and control. You have localized economies, localized sources of money, localized sources of, and every geography is different. What people in Oklahoma need in our country is very different from what we need in Taos, New Mexico, which is 8,000 feet above sea level, a completely different geography and environment. So I just want to say to people, I just did an interview yesterday. And it was a TV interview. And there is a website you can go to find people close to you who are thinking the same way that you're thinking, because a lot of people say they can't find their community. They're saying, where are the people that think the way I think? It's called the Way Forward, the Way Forward website. You can put in your geographic information, and it will show where people are close to you that are looking for what you're talking about. And I just wanted to share that. It just happened yesterday. I
That's
apologize.
great.
I apologize. I jumped in, so please continue.
And the way, THEWAY.
Yeah, the way forward.
Love that.
Yeah.
Second thing, I would say probably like my greatest work going forward is to make people more thoughtful of when they do anything online or use anything. I had created and built something that I've had online for a year, but AI was my development. I had used it for my thought, my inner knowing, my belief, and I really it didn't work for me. It's a year later, I realized everything that I'd done on to have thoughtful research. And I see symbolism and I see it as like a very strong portal for people to imagine. And I think imagination is the key. So I'm creating something to make people think about their thoughts online. So if they think of a symbol, or if they think of a person, or they think of a book, it's a direct energy. It's not just siphoning. It's not just like whatever comes to mind in front of you. It's your choice. So I think taking the power of our choice back, and I think having people think about gardening, or thinking about Gregg Braden or SGLA, and having direct thought, energy, and thinking is totally changing the way I'm creating. And it's made it so I see how the patterns work, and I know how you can help people by just getting them to think about what they're thinking about. Sure. And how they feel about it. And the feeling does matter, but it shouldn't direct or change. It should just make you aware. And that's helped me learn discernment. And
well, thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing. And I think the important thing is we're always going to have technology, but allow that technology to support us and not enslave us. And that is completely up to us. AI is arguably the most powerful technology that has ever been given to a civilian population. We had AI in the 1980s. I was using AI when I was working during the Cold War years. We had AI, not what it is now. So it's not new, but the version that we have now is new, and it is arguably the most powerful technology ever given to a civilian population with no guardrails. There are no guidelines in terms of how this is being used, and especially for young people. And we could have a whole conversation about the young person's relationship to AI. So Willow, thank you for all you're doing. I know Shlomo said we've got other questions, and I want to honor those today before we have to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Willow. Raymond, it's your turn.
Raymond, you're muted. Can you unmute your mic?
Sorry. Oh no, it's all right. My question is very direct. I'd not like to move around, because what you provide us is a very bulk, rich information. But I need to know. You talk about a cosmological reset and also a spiritual leadership. Do you think it's our time now to be resetted? Do we need a personal reset vis-a-vis to this pressure, aggressiveness going out around the world, and the boosting of technology? We cannot simply talk about the world reset, the spiritual reset, the cosmological reset. I think we have something to do. And then what kind of attitude can we have to protect ourselves?
Well, I've given you the answer to that. I've given you the answer to the attitude.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
And I did that specifically. So in terms of a personal or a species-wide reset, we could do that at any time. What's happening right now, and I don't know that this is an accident, the cosmological reset would happen no matter what. And it has happened about every 12,500 years. I have videos on this. We can go back every 12 to 13,000 years. There's a geophysical reset that forces people to think differently about themselves. It forces people to live differently. It forces people to examine the way they live, what community means, all of those things, because they have to work together to adapt. I think that's happening now in a technological way, Raymond, because part of this reset, for the first time, we've always had the technology to remake the world. You know, we've clear cutting of forests and producing petroleum to excess and all. We've always had this coal, burning coal. We've always had the ability to remake the world. What's different now is, for the first time, at least in recorded human history, we have the technology to remake our bodies. We've never had that. We have the technology for gene editing. We have the technology to reset and rebuild entire parts of the human body, to clone. We've never had this. And I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying we've never had this. So along with this reset and the movement to merge us with machines, and that movement has a name. It is called the transhuman movement. Trans means beyond. That's all it means. So the beyond human movement, because that movement is coming with this reset, it is forcing us to come to terms with who we are. It's forcing us to come to terms with what it means to be human. What do we lose if we merge ourselves with technology? What do we gain? And is it worth the price? So the natural cosmological reset that would happen no matter what is now triggering a human spiritual and emotional and psychological reset, because it's no longer a philosophical question, you know, on a napkin with a latte at Starbucks. This is now front and center. Within the next 3 to 4 years, either we claim our humanness, or our humanness is going to be surrendered to technology. So that changes the whole conversation. So in that way, the cosmological events that are naturally occurring are triggering a conversation that we could have at any time, and we didn't, because that's the way humans work. We tend not to have the conversation until we need it. So now we need that conversation, and all of these things are converging into this little window of time, and that's what makes life in our world so exciting right now. I can't think of a more exciting time to be alive. So thank you, Raymond. That was a good question, and Shlomo will do our best to get to the other. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I can see, and I have another interview at the bottom of the hour, so we have 30 minutes, and I'll have to drop off. So I'm going to let you, Shlomo, I'm going to let you moderate.
Okay, let's do it quickly. And I thank you so much for dedicating your time, more than you even said to us. I really, really enjoy every moment.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm enjoying being with you all today.
Thank you. So I'll go from right to left. Yana Jermisko.
Is it, are you, did you ask me to be able to speak?
Who is talking now? No. Lenovo, I don't know who is Lenovo. No. Yana Jermisko, you can talk.
Yana, okay.
Hello.
Hi, Yana.
How are you? Thank you
Good.
for your heart-brain union. It's been heart-opening, to be the least said. I've watched it on Gaia so many times, it became my motto.
Thank you.
But
Thank you for that.
I've been learning about myself for so long that I've realized it's time to maybe let go a little bit of the humanness and turn into spirit more than physical human, because I believe from the spirit world we are able to achieve and give more than we are from the human world. My question is, what do you think about that? And is
I
that
think it's very difficult in our material world to separate our bodies from our spirit, because the spirit is expressing through the gift of our bodies. That's what sets us apart from all other forms of life. And when you really begin to understand how this works, there was a peer-reviewed paper, a scientific paper that was released in 2022, where they're looking at human DNA from a technology perspective, not a biology perspective. And what the paper says is that human DNA is literally, it's not a metaphor, literally a three-dimensional fractal antenna that is tuned to frequencies in the electrical and the magnetic spectrum of dense information. All right. So that information is where our intuition comes from, where our imagination comes from. It's where our creativity comes from. And that's why the gift of the body is emphasized. And you look, if you are biblically inclined, 1 Corinthians 3:16 says, "Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth within you." What they're saying is this vessel holds the antenna that tunes to our divinity. And to the degree that we can honor the gift of our bodies, then we can bring the light of those frequencies into this world, and we can love and honor and heal one another. It's very difficult to do that without a physical body. So I agree with what you're saying. Spirit's important, and the spirit is expressing, and we access the spirit through this amazing antenna that science is only beginning to understand. I don't know if you know this. They say that we have mapped the human genome. What we have mapped is the 2% that is recognized as being functional. 98% is called a dark genome. Some scientists call it junk DNA, which is absolutely crazy, because it's that 98% that is driving the 2% and giving the instructions so that we can bring the light and the divinity from another realm into this physical and material world. And if you want to read about this from a spiritual perspective, the Gnostic texts, I think, are some of the most amazing. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene and the Lost Gospel of the Book of John. Neither one are easy to read, but they both are very, very clear about the role of the physical body bringing light from another realm into this material realm in a way that no other form of life can. So Yana, thank you so much for your question and the work that you do, and I hope that helps.
That did. Thank you so much.
Right.
I will definitely give it a read.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much. So I'll give the floor now to a friend of mine, Dr. Phan Quoc Viet from Vietnam. I see you there.
Hi, my great pleasure to see you, Greg.
It's good to see you. Good to see you as well. Thank you.
I am from Vietnam.
Beautiful, beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, if we should shift from knowledgement to vibrational intelligence. I coach autism, nothing related with knowledge, only vibration and vibrational intelligence vibrational mastery, only movement, juggling, recycling, and my student see autism become Guinness World Record. No schooling, no special schooling.
Yeah.
Only by spirituality, vibration, and I call it vibrational intelligence. No knowledge, intelligence. We should move to this. Even me too. I read a lot. I use AI a lot, but at least 2-3 hours vibration. I do exercise vibration. I think we should do something. I call it vibration intelligence. What do you think about it?
Yeah, so everyone learns differently, and this is why the this is fascinating because modern science is only about 300 years old. So it's relatively new. And for 300 years, science has been attempting to determine if there is a field of energy that exists in the world. And if there is a field of energy, modern science is saying, what do we do with that? But our ancestors and our most ancient and cherished spiritual traditions begin with the understanding that, of course, there is a field of energy. Of course, we are part of that field. And of course, we access that field in our lives. So for over 5,000 years, spiritual traditions, they didn't try to prove that the field exists. They explored how to apply it in their lives for better health, better healing, and all of the traditions that come from that. So now science has just in the year 2012 was the first year science acknowledged this field. So now science says, yeah, there's a field, but what do we do with it? And this is where I think the marriage of science and spirituality can serve us. Science tells us the mechanics of how things work, but may not always know what to do with those mechanics. Spiritual traditions tell us how to apply those mechanics in our lives, but may not understand the nuts and the bolts, the engineering. When you marry those together, now we have a wisdom that's greater than the science alone. It's greater than the spirituality alone because it applies human experience to the knowledge. So knowledge is how things work. Wisdom is how we apply that knowledge in our lives. So the energy that you're talking about is certainly a part of that. And there are so many techniques, whether we're talking about Tai Chi, Qigong. I've studied martial arts since I was 12 years old. I don't talk about it publicly, but it's a very important part of my life because it is accessing and moving that energy in not only in the world, but in our bodies as well. So I think the answer is yes. And we begin learning that field is more than movement. That field is information. And that's where the knowledge comes from, direct knowledge, even without speaking. And I think we're probably moving to a point where we will begin to rely more on nonverbal communication because we will have awakened that sense. At least some of the population will have awakened that sense. And some people do it already right now. So I'm hesitating. I don't know if you guys are following what's happening in the United States right now is our government is requiring officials to come forward and testify under oath about our relationship with life that is not from planet Earth for the last 80 years. And this is happening on C-SPAN TV. Anyone can watch it. These are high-level government officials with security clearance that are now acknowledging that planet Earth, we have had a relationship with life from beyond this world for at least 80 years, from the middle of the 20th century. We have their craft, we have their technology, and there are different species, at least 4 different species that had now been acknowledged publicly. It's I mean, there's a whole story behind that. The reason I'm saying this is because most of the life forms that are not from Earth that we are now going to be introduced to over the next few years use nonverbal communication. So they are, if you want to call it telepathic, it's more than telepathy. It's actually on a cellular level. You're sensing the information in your cells. As we acclimate to interfacing with life from other worlds, I think we will awaken our own innate abilities for nonverbal communication. And for those people that are already doing this is going to be much easier. And then you will be the leader to help other people learn how to do this as well. So I'll stop there, but I think it's fascinating to see how, by the process is called disclosure. Some people are very familiar with it. Some people are not following this at all. But the officials have already said under oath, under the threat of perjury if they lie, so they aren't lying, that we have these relationships and we are currently interacting with at least 4 species of life not from Earth, and that much of their communication is nonverbal communication. So
I think everybody is one vibrational antenna. We transfer out the vibration to autistic children. They cannot understand knowledge, know anything knowledge, but they do great things. We should shift from knowledge management to vibrational management. Not we think we exist now. We vibrate, we exist. I like vibration. Vibration is emotional.
Yeah, it's all vibration. I just did an interview with a woman that created a program called the telepathy tapes. And I know many people are watching this about autistic children communicating non-verbally. And the point of that is if they can do it, we can do it. This is the point of any kind of autism, of any kind of, many of the things that we call defects in other people are not defects. They are abilities. Their bodies are focused to show us what we can do in our lives. So I think we're going to, as we become aware of that, we're going to see more of that. It's all vibration. You're right. So yeah, thank you. So Shlomo, I think we need to go to, I don't know if we're going to get,
But
people are adding questions and I don't think we're going to get to all the questions.
No, we will not. Greg, I just cannot avoid myself from telling you that I've been with Dr. Viet. He was high rank in the democratic workplace in Vietnam, very VIP, and he left everything. And he went to live in an autistic farm, and he's teaching the people, training them.
Wow.
And what he's doing, they won, I think, some high ranks in juggling, because the autistic people, they are very good in doing the same thing again and again and again. Yeah. And I was there, I was crying out of excitement. He's doing really miracles.
Well, thank you for the work that you're doing. And, I think all of this change that we're seeing, it's difficult on one level, but it's forcing us to wake up and come to terms with who we are on another level. And maybe that's the way it works. Maybe that's what we need to do. I think in a year from now, we will look at this conversation and we'll have much more information. I think we'll see a lot more of this coming to light.
So, yeah. And everybody who is asking about, look at his name, Van Kwok Viet, and you can go into the website and you can see amazing work he's doing with the
Greg, how to contact with you? I want to send you directly email or something like to talk with you.
Thank you, Dr.
If you go to my website, there is an email address. If you write personal in the subject line, it will come directly to me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so the next one, if I remember correctly, was D short. I don't know if you're D short or D long, but who are you? I don't know.
D short.
Yeah, thank you very much. So Greg, I've attended many of your conferences, Bruce Lipton, Candace Pert, and my background is actually molecular genetics, and then now I'm in environmental chemistry and non-denominational pastoral counseling. So it comes from that point of view, but I'll do it quickly because there's a lot of people. There is a book. I mean, we're looking at how to get this out in a way that we're not speaking to the choir. And Dan Brown has an interesting book called Origins. I don't know if you've read it, but it's on AI gone awry. And I don't know if anyone has access to some of the movie industry, but if that were to be brought into public awareness, I mean, people are so media crazy, maybe we could use it to our advantage. And because it has quite the twists and turns and very, very, very thought provoking. So just as that might be a resource to get this out in a different way, because those of us that are listening to you love you and are very attuned to this, and we need to get to the people who don't know what this is all about.
I appreciate everything you're saying. I agree with what you're saying, and there are a number of movements to do just that. I'm hesitating. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but I just filmed. So Leonardo DiCaprio, the actor, is also a producer, and he has a film company. Vegas sent a film crew to me in it was, I think, in February of this year. And I've just filmed for a 6-part docuseries on AI that will be released sometime in the next few weeks. It's called Rise, is the name of it, RISE. And this is their attempt to bring into the mainstream. And I haven't seen it. Originally, they filmed me for 2 episodes, and then the producer wrote to me and said, I am in all 6 episodes now. So the conversation we had, they found applicable to those episodes. I haven't seen it. I have no idea how much of me is left on the cutting room floor, as they say. But that will be in mainstream theaters, and there are others as well. So I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for the work you do. I'm going to check out Dan Brown's book.
Yeah,
and,
Origin. I think I mentioned it, but someone
yeah.
put it in the chat, and But anyway, yeah, if it could be made into a movie, and I'll look forward probably to seeing you in July in Denver.
Oh, I look forward. Okay, just a few weeks. Well, I recognize your face. I'm not so much with names, but I'm really good with pattern recognition, and I have seen your face at our events. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it was brown. It was browner before, but
I'm not looking at your hair. I'm looking at your face.
thank you very much for your
right.
work, you and Bruce. I'm sorry to lose Candace, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. The next one is Lynn.
Lynn.
You know.
Hi. Hello, Greg. Good
Hey, Lynn. It's good to see you.
It's great to see you. Thank you for inviting me into this whole deal. Thank you so much. I wanted to shed a little update on what is going on as far as they actually are stopping the weather control around the world. They actually are stopping all of the vaccinations that are injuring our children. They're looking at the Amish and they're using them as a baseline for what is going on in society, and they're finding that the Amish don't have any of the problems that we have.
Sure.
I do believe very strongly that the administration is falling in line with the galactic federations, and that there are sentient and loving beings from all over the universe, and they are working together to try to save our timeline. And I believe that they've succeeded in doing so. And I also believe that our jobs are to be anchors of light and love. We are coming up, actually, we are in the middle of this transition where Gaia is splitting off into its 5D. And it's a matter of where you come from inside. And those individuals who are clones, who are not from this world and who are evil, literally evil, there will be 3 days of darkness, and they will not be waking up with us. I'm very psychically tuned in. And when we were in Europe, there were whole places I wouldn't go near. And one of them was Geneva. And my family insisted on having lunch there. And as it turns out, we had lunch right next to the lake where they found an installation from those bad people underneath there. And I was so sick to my stomach. But a number of things put me in a situation where I was made captive audience to somebody who was into Gaia and the secret space program. And it was in an Airbnb, and a man in the other room happened to be from the Army. And I asked him about some of these things, and he had firsthand knowledge. And the spirit world does this with me. It'll put me in a situation that I'm made to learn something or made to meet the right people. They've just acknowledged ether as one of the fundamental elements. So we are actually, and I was listening to the doctor last time he was here, and we're actually on a better trajectory than what we're seeing on the news and other places like that. I go into the X, for the stuff that's not editorialized and not, scripted and all that stuff. And I'm seeing the bottom line stuff, and there's good stuff happening. We are better off than we were. Honest to God, I may not look like that. I know it's tough right now. I'm having a hard time, but I just know. I have a knowing. There's a website called School, SKOOL.com. And it talks about a lot of this stuff. They've just disclosed about the Targaryen or Targaryen wars that were here in 1776. And I was watching a film yesterday where the skies were filled with UFOs. But they, whole civilizations were written out of the Encyclopedia Britannica, that they just exposed in Russia. So I really do think that we are on track. And I think that, that the more we think positively about that and trust in God's process, that we're in good hands. And I just wanted to put that out there, that they really do know what's going on, and they're trying.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest projects has been dealing with the people that are developing Neuralink and telling them about my experience with my cochlear implant. And I was dealing with a cellular biologist yesterday, finding out that my cochlear implants may just be having to do with cell damage, when nobody even looked at my cells. They just looked at my chart and said, you took X vitamin, and now we're going to drill holes in your head, and now I'm completely deaf as a result of that. And like you said, nobody advised me that I could lose my hearing entirely. All of these things were just drill and go, teaching school, let's move on. Glance, no evaluation. And so they are our biggest killers, are these, the medical profession.
Everyone learns differently, and I appreciate all that you're doing right now. And there are a lot of good things happening, and I trust in the process implicitly. So I think and I trust in our ability to recognize that process in its entirety for context, so that we know where we fit into that process. And that's what we're doing here. So I want to thank you for that, Shlomo. I think we can do one more quick one, and then I'm going to have to drop off for another interview.
Okay, one more quick one. I will give priority. Robin, you are last, but so Joan Dickerson was before you. I'm sorry.
I have a question. What concrete things should I be doing?
Well, I don't think there are any shoulds. I think if you are in touch through the technologies that we have described of heart-brain coherence,
Yeah.
and you have a question about direction and choice and path in your life, only your heart is going to be able to know. And it's not a metaphor. Your heart is literally tuned. There was a journal called the Journal of Complementary and Alternative Medicine, peer-reviewed journal. And that journal says there is compelling evidence, this is a quote, compelling evidence to suggest that the human heart is coupled to a field of information that is not limited by the laws of time and space. That means in the center of your chest, you have the technology to tune beyond the ego and beyond the polarity into what's true for you. And then once you find what's true for you, you get to choose as to how much of that you follow in your life. I could offer suggestions. I don't know you. I don't know anything about your life. So I could offer suggestions, but those are not tailored for you specifically. And this is the point. I want all of us to know we're never alone. We have everything that we need to find that direction. And I think the times that we're in now are guiding us more to that personal connection. And I think that's, I appreciate you asking. And Shlomo, I think that's a good place for us to close today. What do you think?
Because you mentioned our heart, so I want all of us to put our hands on our heart and to send you all the energy we can, especially personally for you as our leader. And I want to tell you that we really appreciate you so much. And I know that you are paving the line sometimes. It's not easy. Sometimes, you have to say not easy things. You have to be courageous. And I'm calling, first of all, I want to support you going all the way, physically, mentally, spiritually, and also emotionally, let's say. And I'm supporting you personally, and I want everybody to support you now, to thank you so much for your work you are doing to this planet, and to thank you that you came to this meeting. And we are with you. The energy of SGLA is with you. I want you to know it, and I want everybody here to understand that this is something that we are looking forward, creating our desired future of this planet. And sometimes it's a happy moment, sometimes it's not. But this is something that we have to look at. This is kind of a wake-up call. We have to look at what's going on. We have to be aware of what's going on, and then to go all the way. Thank you so much, my dear brother. Thank you so, so much.
Oh, thank you. I love you all, and thank everyone for everything you're doing to make this the best world possible. Shlomo, let's be in touch, and I look forward to our next, okay?
Yes, for sure.
Right.
And if there is something in this that we can hug physically, it will make me the happiest person on this planet.
I'm going to do my
Bye-bye.
best to get to your part of the world, okay? All right,
See
love you.
soon.
I'm going to go to another interview. Love you all. Thank you.
Bye-bye, my dear friend.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so let's go back for all those of you who are still here. Yes, I will just mention again that if you want to meet me in person, you can go again to this link of my Calendly in the chat, look at it, click on the link, and I will be there on the other side, as I told you and as promised you. And I'm totally with you, and it was a pure pleasure to be with you today. And Robin still wants to speak. So Robin, I'll give you the floor for a moment.
Thank you. I just wanted to address one thing that was sent to me in a private chat, that Gregg Braden has said here in our earlier classes, that as a geologist and a musician, he is attuned to the changes in frequencies that the doctor was talking about. And I've seen some videos of his on YouTube, and I'm not quite sure how to access it other than through a chat. I've exchanged WhatsApp information on the chat with the young lady or young man in Vietnam. Too much information is coming to me, so forgive me if I'm incorrect. So I'll do what I can if they reach out. But
so I will just mention that you are with SGLA for, I think, more than 3 years, 4 years. And you are an amazing woman. And we love you, and we love each and every one. Bye, my friend. Bye, Willow. Bye, Lynn. Bye, Joanne. Bye, Diana. I don't know who is in the Lenovo, but somebody, maybe you with your name. Bye, Dr. Viet. Bye, Anna Jermisco. You're amazing. Bye, Raymond. How are you, Raymond? I love your question. Bye, Kate. Bye, Philip Adonai. Bye, Maria Amado. Bye, Irena Rutter. Shalou Persaud. I don't know this name. Who are you? Shalou. Bye, Shalou. Bye, Abby Shockster. Bye, Mother Tree. Who is Mother Tree then? Bye, Monica Mihalisco. Bye, Mary Chizik. Bye, Dariana. Yes, Maria Dariana. I saw you. Also in LinkedIn, you sent me a message. Bye, Shan. One moment, I'll go on. Bye, Brigitte Bucht. Bye, Mazi. Bye, Mazi. Bye, Annie. Bye, Dalia. Bye, Maurizio. Bye, Anda. Bye, Roxana. Bye, Deva. Bye, Charlotte. Bye, Leslie Campbell. Bye, Luis Avram. Bye, Soldal Suarez. And if you have any kind of questions about the course, I will be here another 5 minutes. So you can ask a question now and I will answer you if you want. I'm staying another 5 minutes. Bye, Caroline. Bye, Nirit. Bye, Defina. Bye, Anjalika Brushkin, our technical supporter. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Okay, people are still coming. It's amazing. It was my pleasure. Bye, Maurizio. Bye, everybody. See you soon in the course. Sean, you want to say something?
For your light. This is my first time meeting you, seeing you, knowing you, in this life anyway. And I'm curious if there's time to, if you can share how you came to know your passion, right? Like you knew your heart, what was in it, what was life calling to you, you calling to life.
Sean, it's a short question and long answer. I think the best will be that you come. If you want to talk to me personally, you can go. If you want to come to the course, I'm sharing this. And it's not
perfect.
It is a coincidence. It is some kind of if you want, a spiritual touch. But at the end of the day, when we are putting our total intention and we know how to do it and we look inside clearly, we can do it. It's not so difficult. Yes, we just have to look inside and see. Bye-bye. Chazvini Ramayaran, you're from India? No?
May I say, I was living in India for quite some time, but I'm in Slovenia now.
Okay. So
Thank you so much.
It's time to go home. Enjoy your life. I love you. I enjoyed every moment today. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye. Bye, Anya. Bye, Sabina. Suzel. Hi, Suzel. Vera. Steve. Hello, Steve. Maria Angela. Hi. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Is there any recording for what happened today? Because I was volunteering and I missed some of them.
Just keep in touch. We will send it to you. Just
Perfect.
keep in touch. Talk to me or to Mazi. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Shalom.
Shalom.